Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're focusing on one of the most critical and honestly complex procedures a federal employee can face. We're talking about filing an occupational disease claim, specifically using federal form CA2.
Right, and this isn't for that sudden, one-time injury.
Exactly, that's the CA1.
This is for something that's much trickier to prove. It's about the slow, gradual toll your job takes on your body over months or even years.
So if you're listening and dealing with something that developed over time, maybe carpal tunnel, chronic back pain from driving, hearing loss, you're in CA2 territory.
That distinction is, well, it's everything. The whole process hinges on proving cause when there wasn't a single event.
And that's our mission for this deep dive. We're going to give you a step-by-step roadmap. We'll tackle the timelines, the forms, and the single most critical piece of evidence you need for OWCP to say yes.
But before we even get to the paperwork, we have to talk about the biggest hurdle, the thing that trips so many people up right at the start. With a CA2, unlike a traumatic injury, there are two huge roadblocks. First, continuation of pay, or COP. It's just not provided.
Wow.
And second, the CA16, which is the authorization for initial medical care, it's generally not issued.
Wait, so let me get this straight. You get sick or injured from your federal job over time, and you're basically on your own for the initial costs.
That's the reality of it. It's a massive barrier.
I can imagine. I mean, how often does that upfront financial burden cause people to just delay getting help?
Constantly. It happens all the time. OWCP sees these cases as less of an emergency, so you're expected to use your own sick leave, your own health insurance, and pay out of pocket at first.
And then hope for reimbursement later.
Exactly. You seek retroactive reimbursement and to buy back your leave if the claim is accepted. And that's why filing correctly and quickly is so important. Every day you wait is a day it's costing you.
Okay, so let's jump into that timeline. For these gradual conditions, when does the clock actually start ticking on that 3-year filing deadline?
The clock starts the moment you, the employee, become aware that your condition is related to your job.
The date of awareness.
That's the one.
Yeah.
And it's the first thing OWCP scrutinizes.
Okay, but what if you're still doing the job? You know, the exposure is ongoing.
Ah, that's the key. If you're still exposed to those work factors after you realize the connection, the 3-year clock actually starts from the last date of that exposure.
Oh, that's a big deal.
It is. So if you figured out your typing was causing carpal tunnel in, say, 2020, but you kept doing that job until 2023, your clock starts in 2023.
So the advice is still, don't wait. But if someone is just over that 3-year mark, are they completely out of luck?
There's a tiny bit of wiggle room, but it's risky. Your claim might be allowed if you can prove your supervisor had actual knowledge of the problem within 90 days of when you found out.
So like an informal heads up.
Right. But trying to prove that later is tough. The best practice, by far, is to file within that 3-year window.
So before you even start the paperwork, what are the first practical steps?
It's a short but really essential checklist. 1, tell your supervisor immediately, just an informal heads up. That starts the clock for the agency.
Okay.
2, you absolutely have to ask for a CA16. That's the authorization for treatment.
Even if you know, they'll probably say no.
Yes, you need it on the record that you requested it. And then number 3, because they'll likely decline it, you go seek prompt medical care on your own.
Using your own insurance.
Your own insurance, the agency health unit, whatever. The key is to document everything. Keep every record, every report, every single receipt. You need that proof.
You mentioned a cheat sheet, something called the CA35 checklist. You're saying people should look at that before they even fill out the CA2.
Oh, 100%. It's like getting the answers to the test ahead of time. And the Department of Labor has different versions of the CA35 for different conditions.
So there's one for hearing loss, one for back injuries.
Exactly. The hearing loss one asks for specific audiogram results. The one for an ergonomic injury will ask for details about repetitive movements. It tells you exactly what objective proof OWCP is looking for. No guesswork.
That is a fantastic tip. And for the filing itself.
Please use the online portal, ECOMP. It's just faster, it creates an immediate timestamp, and you can track everything. Paper is an option, but ECOMP is just cleaner.
All right, let's get into the CA2 form itself. Let's start with the basics, items 1 through 9. But what are the spots that people mess up?
Well, the basics are critical. Obviously, double-check your Social Security number. But the one people overlook is marking their dependents correctly.
Why is that so important?
It's all about the money. I mean, if your claim is accepted and you miss work, your compensation is 75% of your salary if you have a dependent.
And without one?
It's 66 2/3%. That difference can be hundreds and hundreds of dollars every pay period. It's a huge detail not to get right.
Now, for the part that I think confuses everyone, the dates. Item 11 and item 12.
The legal tightrope, yes.
They sound so similar. What's the real difference?
Okay, so item 11 is the date you first became aware of the disease. This is just when you first noticed something was wrong. You went to the doctor for wrist pain in June 2021. That's your date for item 11.
So that's the I have a problem date.
Exactly. Then item 12 is the date you first realized your job caused it. This is the aha moment. This is usually the date your doctor looked at your job duties and said, yes, this is from your work.
And that's often the date of the actual medical report making that connection.
That's the best date to use. The two dates have to make logical sense. You can't realize your job caused it before you knew you had it.
Okay, moving on to defining the condition itself. Item 14. People just write back pain.
And that gets denied.
Yeah.
You have to be specific. Use the actual medical diagnosis from your doctor. Not stomach trouble, but reflux esophagitis. Not back pain, but lumbar stenosis at L4, L5.
Specificity is key.
And name the body part. Left shoulder rotator cuff tear, not just shoulder pain.
Okay, what about item 16? If you had a similar condition before, like an old football injury, do you have to mention it?
You have to answer truthfully, yes. And it does not automatically disqualify your claim.
Really?
Not at all. The key is proving that your federal job aggravated the old injury beyond its natural progression. Your doctor has to explain how the work led to a new, measurable problem. That's why you also list your prior doctors. It shows you're being transparent.
And finally, in this section, item 29, the last date of exposure.
This is so important for occupational claims. It basically defines the window of responsibility for the government. If you're still doing the harmful work, you just write present or the day you're filing. If you stopped, you put that last date you were exposed. It gives the claims examiner a clear time frame.
All right, let's talk about the heart of the claim, because the form itself is one thing, but you're saying the attachments are what really matter.
I cannot stress this enough. Most CA2s fail because of weak evidence. The difference between winning and losing comes down to two documents: your detailed narrative statement and your physician's narrative report.
So let's start with the employee's narrative. This is your chance to teach the claims examiner about your job. What are the rules here?
Rule 1 is quantify everything. Be specific. Don't say, I operate heavy equipment. Say, I operated the Model 315 excavator, holding the controls for 6-hour shifts, 5 days a week, for 12 years. You have to paint a picture of the physical demand.
That turns a vague complaint into objective data about your exposure.
Precisely. Rule 2, be factual. No emotion, just the duties and the facts. If you exaggerate and they check with your supervisor, your credibility is shot.
And what was rule 3?
Address any pre-existing conditions head-on. Explain how your federal job made that old problem worse and point to the new medical evidence, like a new MRI, that proves it.
Okay, so that's the employee's part. Now, the doctor's report, you said this is the decider.
It is the entire load-bearing structure of the claim. It has to have what we call the magic word.
And what are those?
The doctor must state, and this is a direct quote, to a reasonable degree of medical certainty, that the work factors caused or aggravated the condition.
That exact phrase.
That exact phrase. And then they have to explain the physiological reason why. They have to connect the dots.
So give us an example for that carpal tunnel case.
A strong report would say something like, the patient's chronic, repetitive wrist flexion and extension performed for 8 hours a day placed continuous pressure on the median nerve, resulting in chronic entrapment neuropathy, which is confirmed by their nerve conduction study.
It connects the action to the medical result.
Yes. A weak report just says the wrist pain could be related to typing. That will get denied almost immediately.
So what about a back injury? Let's say a mail carrier.
A weak claim says patient has back pain, might be from driving. A strong claim says the repeated microtrauma from vehicle vibration combined with the constant rotational forces on the lumbar spine from twisting to deliver mail directly aggravated the patient's underlying degenerative disc disease, leading to a new L5S1 disc protrusion confirmed by MRI.
It's night and day.
Absolutely. If a doctor uses wishy-washy words like possibly or I suspect, OWCP gives it almost no weight. The physician has to be firm and medically clear.
Okay, so you have your package, the CA2, your narrative, the doctor's strong report. Now what?
Now you submit it. And if you're filing on paper, you must insist on getting that tear-off receipt from your supervisor.
That's your proof of timely filing.
It's your insurance policy. because once they have it, their clock starts. The supervisor has 10 working days to get that entire package to OWCP.
And once it's officially with OWCP, what's the waiting game like?
First, you'll get an official claim number.
Yeah.
Then, you wait. Generally, you should expect about 90 days for a decision.
90 days is a long time, especially when you're using your own sick leave. What can you do in the meantime?
Watch your mail or your ECOMP account, like a hawk. If the examiner needs more information, they'll send a development letter.
Which is not a denial.
Not a denial. It's an urgent request. You have to respond quickly and fully, usually within 30 days. Use ECOMP to upload documents. It's the fastest way.
And then, hopefully, you get an acceptance letter. What's the very next step?
The moment you get that acceptance, you need to file Form CA-7 immediately.
And that's for what?
That's how you request wage loss compensation. And more importantly for CA2, it's how you buy back all the sick leave or annual leave you were forced to use while you waited for the decision.
This entire process just sounds incredibly demanding, especially when you're not feeling well.
It is, and it's why specialized help can be so valuable. Facilities that know the federal system can help gather the evidence and make sure the doctor's report has the exact language OWCP needs to see.
So, to wrap it all up, what's the key takeaway for a successful CA2?
It boils down to two things. Nailing those two critical dates, when you knew about the illness and when you knew the job caused it, and getting that medically reasoned opinion from your doctor that draws a direct physiological line from your job to your diagnosis.
No speculation.
Speculation is the enemy of the CA2 claim.
So what this really means for you, the listener, is that in the world of federal workers' comp, the diagnosis is just the beginning. The real battle is one with diligent paperwork and ensuring your doctor speaks the very specific language OWCP requires. And that leaves us with a final thought for you to consider. Given that the CA2 process requires employees to take on a significant financial risk upfront, using their own leave and insurance, what kind of impact does that have on the trust between federal employees and their agencies, knowing they literally have to pay to prove their work made them